The following video has been written and created without the use of AI. Please support your human content creators by liking the video and commenting something down below. And leave a sub if you enjoy it. Thank you. Goop looked over to the clock. It was getting late, and he started feeling nervous. The ichor extraction was by now reduced to just him and you. A tune going by the name of Chuckles. The plan was simple. He'd go right, you'd go left. Once the door is open. While he had returned to the elevator, you did not. He shifted uncomfortably. You had told him many things. Important rules. One of them was to leave if you didn't come. That felt so mean. Goop was a very innocent tune. In fact, he didn't even fully grasp why the twisted ones were not allowed to be hugged. But seeing his group become smaller and smaller as the floors became bigger and more treacherous, even he started to understand the danger. Or at least most of it. Tapping his little claws together, Goop stepped out of the elevator. A decision you and any other tune would consider foolish. Slowly he waddled to the left. He knew better to not shout your name. If anything, he just wanted confirmation he wasn't leaving you behind. Yeah, sure, definitely. But the light of the elevator lamps had barely slipped his form when he regretted his decision. Your side of the floor was much darker. And while it might have looked pleasant at light due to the colorful decorations and paintings, the playrooms were eerie in the dark. The only light sources were emergency exit signs and an occasional nightlight that for some reason was plugged into a random outlet. You wandered past an empty extractor, a sign you had been here. Okay, so at least you made it to the first extraction. That was good, right? Oh, and look at that! Right next to it was one of your jack-in-the-boxes that you used to lure Twisted away. That was a good sign, right? Come to think of it, the elevator would not be functioning right now if not all extractors had been activated. So that, at least, was what you managed. Goob shook his head. At least. Yeah, right. Unlike him, you had taken this serious from the first minute. There was no at least with you. It was only now that he realized just how much you had shielded him. He sighed, stepping around another jack-in-the-box while dragging his long, noodly arms behind himself. The tune was afraid for your life. His eyes slowly drifted left to right as the rooms became bigger. A bead of nervous sweat ran down Goop's neck as he entered a new playroom. He could hear one of your jack-in-the-boxes play Pop Goes the Weasel, so perhaps you were hiding and needed assistance. The floor was white and felt like rubber under his feet, and the air reeked of ichor. A singular desk lamp was lit, shining towards the middle of the room, but what was in the middle of the light cone made Goop's eyes widen with horror. Bent over a twisted shrimpo whose eyes had stopped glowing was a familiar gestalt. Shrimpo's lifeless body shuddered every time the creature over him buried her fingers into the open black wounds on his body. Pop Goes the Weasel quietly playing. Whenever the Kring's crushing jaws opened up, the music seemed to play just a little louder, as if the song itself was coming from her very guts. The disgusting, gnashing sound of teeth meeting torn flesh made Goop's stomach turn. He watched her hands move, slide into the meat, hearing her slurp and grunt. He took a step back, realizing what he was looking at, but his foot stepped on a rugged ducky. The next few moments, to Goop, felt agonizingly slow as he lifted his foot off the toy. While staring at the twisted, her head turned. The bells on her jester hat jingled, and what used to be a familiar face now stared back at him. It was you, chuckled the jester tune. Normally you wore a blue and yellow jester suit, but now it was ripped at the legs and arms and covered in ichor. Normally you wore a blue and yellow jester suit that now was ripped at the legs and arms due to them having elongated. It was covered in ichor. Your arms and legs were almost as long as Goop's now. Your mouth was ripped open from ear to ear, and your already sharp teeth now came in two razor-esque rows, glistening in the light of the desk lamp. No, not glistening, they glowed. Your white skin was stained with the ichor of the shrimpo that you were greedily devouring. But it were your eyes. Your eyes were what made Goop's blood freeze. Usually just looking like painted on plus signs, they were now round, bulbous, quickly flickering red and yellow. As your head turned towards him, your mouth turned painfully slowly into a toothy grin as your pupils widened. With the joy a dog had as it ran after a frightened bunny, your head snapped back, like that of a screaming muppet or a bat trap, revealing the black abyss that was your mouth as your ichor-covered hands emerged from the torn shrimpo. For a horrifying second, it was as if time stood still, and it was as Goop turned around to run that he noticed frantic ichor black writing on the wall behind him. I can feel it moving under my skin. To read this, I'm sorry, Goo. The last word was unreadable, but the Goo was enough to tell Goop that the last thing you did before turning was trying to apologize to him. Tears ran out of Goop's eyes as he screamed, running as quickly as his little legs could, while your twisted form chased after him. With a loud scream, turned into a gurgle by the pooling ichor in your throat. Your snapped head wiggled while your eyes kept flickering so bright it was almost like a police siren. Goop rushed through the hallway. But Pop Goes the Weasel played louder and louder as you narrowed Goop's lead. The further the chase went, the faster you became. The longer it took, the closer you got. You sped up, exhilarated. And then, Pop Goes the Weasel. You jumped, lunged, hands stretched out as far as they got. Like a bullet, you slammed into the back of Goop, throwing the both of you to the ground, your jaws clasping around his body, black ichor immediately spewing from the holes you just made. No, Chuckles, please! Your right hand found his mouth, your middle and ring finger pushing into it. He gagged, but now he was muffled, saliva coating your fingertips as your jaw began to grind. He cried, trying to push you off of him. His hands scratched, pushed, and punched against your cheeks, coating him in his own ichor. Your eyes quickly swirled into sockets in a spiral pattern as you enjoyed relishing in Goop's goop, as your massively and large tongue licked over his wounds. swallowing every last drop of the little Icarus untwisted body had. He was warm, so warm and soft. Icar sweet and invigorating. Your eyes rolled around with euphoric bliss, your heart beating fast and strong as endorphins and adrenaline were massively produced. A macabre joy that was only comparable to the feeling one got upon the ultimate release. And just as your legs squirmed with the excitement of a pressure release, Goop poked your right eye. Your orb was squishy and wet, and similar to your clown nose, made a honking sound. Instantly the eye turned black as ichor, like blood, was pumped into it due to the irritation and pain. Immediately let go of him. With a relieved sigh, Goop felt your teeth pull from his flesh and your fingers leave his mouth, jumping, screaming as you fell backwards, your feet kicking the air like an unruly toddler having their diapers changed. Gritting his teeth, Goop began pushing himself forward, hurt as he was. He could see the elevator's light. He was so close. He crawled on his knees and on one arm forward, the only thing he could move. He was in so much pain, ichor gushing from his wounds. Stretching out his right arm, he just barely managed to grab the frame of the open elevator door, but just as his arm began to retract, pulling him in, you grabbed him from behind. With a strength he didn't think possible. And with one incredibly painful pull, his arm popped off of his shoulder, slapping onto the floor like a noodle, twitching as life left his appendage. Goop's eyes became glassy from the pain as he finally gave up. You held him up like a baby did a teddy bear as he just blankly stared you down. Your jaws were practically clapping as your steps were quick and short. Upon returning to that wretched room, you tossed him, causing him to painfully crash into the desk, smashing the light bulb in the process. He cried, using his left hand to rub over the back of his head. The only thing he could see in the darkness were your glowing eyes and teeth. You approached him like a floating, horrific smiley face. Please. His breaths came quickly, unsure of where or how to look at you with those spinning pupils of yours. Your face came closer to his, each step accompanied with a quiet jingling bell noise. Saliva and ichor was dripping past the gaps in your teeth, covering his face in your hot liquids. He shivered. Scraps, help me! Your bear trap-like mouth clapped around his face, teeth digging into the sides of his head. The gaping abyss that was your mouth reeked of ichor and flesh. And then out of the darkness, your tongue slapped against him. It was thick, rubbery and hot, coating his face in a thick layer of saliva. He coughed, and your pupils dilated as you felt his breath tickle along your tongue. Your appendage pulled back while your hands gripped his shoulders so tight he could hear the tension in your muscles. A thick gust of air whipped his face as you breathed out, and then your massive tongue jabbed into his mouth. He gurgled in pain. His own was stretched to its possible maximum. It moved in and out of his throat. He could feel his skin stretch as it went further than it physically should be able to, bulging. And he became unable to breathe due to his windpipe being squeezed by your intrusion. Your teeth ground into his flesh. Goop panicked, squirmed, his left arm trying to wrap around your own, but all he managed to do was hug your hips tightly until his hand slapped over your rear. Almost immediately unclasped, pulling your tongue out of him with a noise. He coughed, and a sound, kind of like a moan, escaped you. Your eyes stopped spinning, and Goop wasn't sure what was scaring him more, actually having your eyes focus on him or having them bubble around like googly eyes. Your right hand left his shoulder, and then it returned, pressing onto his chest, your long, spindly fingers playing with his fur before tracing him. He noticed your grin. It had widened, while your lips slowly wrapped around your gums again, turning the savage grin into a glowing smile. Your pupils dilated and shrunk in rapid succession. And soon your hand clasped his groin, causing Goop to jolt his hips away, but seeing your eyes narrow was enough to give up. Your thumb brushed over the little suspicious pouch between his legs. He made a sound, somewhere in between a squeal and a gasp, as your thumb poked into it, feeling the hard flesh. Goop could feel his ichor rush towards the center. Your tongue lapped out again, but instead of choking him, you coated your teeth with saliva. Anticipatingly so, almost seductive, but mostly savagely horrific. He couldn't say no to you, even like this. Goop shook, your touches and pokes causing electric jolts in his entire body. His fingers curled, digging into your behind. The other hand moved from his shoulder to his mouth, thumb and index forcing his mouth open. Pushing against his lips, you forced his tongue to loll out. A snicker-like sound was pushed out of your throat, and your own returned to his mouth. It practically crushed his squishy little organ as its tip uselessly tickled over the rubbery skin of your tongue. Your grip on his groin increased, becoming painful, but Goop could also feel his extremity heat up. His legs shivered with anticipation. Your savage hunger already turned into something more primal as he was unraveling in front of you.
Hey, you reached the end of the video. That makes you part of the exclusive club. Our secret password for the month is Morning Glory. Leave it in the comments below to tell your fellow members you watched the video until the very end. Lastly, before we say goodbye, I want to take the opportunity and thank my channel members. ADHD_Neptune, EEGG, Andrejama, Jaws, Melofia, Maxicat, Alison Watkins, Mystic Jade 111, Giovanna Moretti, Twilight Mia, Angry Boxman, and Anonymous Weep. Thank you for being darling stewards, and of course, a big thank you to all the other channel members. It's you who keep me alive. Thank you. Goodbye.